from Capital Cares with Robin from the Ocean. How are you doing today, Robin?
Pretty sweet. Just got off stage, getting drunk.
Now the tour just began. So how's it been so far?
It's been pretty good. We had 2 shows so far only, Seattle and Portland. Seattle was pretty sick, first night of the tour. Yesterday was a bit weird, played really late, and Tool were playing the same night, so tough competition. Sid and me actually went to watch them for like an hour or something, so that was pretty awesome. But yeah, it's been good, and tonight was a really good set. I think, cool venue, like good atmosphere, and yeah, good vibes. It was cool.
So what are some of the tour stops that you guys looking forward to on this tour?
We're going south down the west coast, tomorrow to LA, then to San Diego, then via Arizona and El Paso to Texas, doing South by Southwest and South by SoWhat Fest. And then heading towards Florida and then up the East Coast basically. So it's like not a full loop, but a half circle, so to speak.
Are there any places that you're looking forward to for like food or anything like that? Like any cities?
Food? Well, there's not many places in the US that offer good food for a spoiled European. But there's El Paso, which is a haven for us always because we have this friend there. Fucking legend Frank Longoria, who always hooks us up with epic barbecues and guacamole bowls that can feed like 50 people, and so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Other than that, I'm pretty much looking forward to playing Florida because we haven't played there since 2008, and we've toured the US 4 times, but only on our very first tour ever we played Florida. Since then, we've never really played there. Actually, that's not true. We did Summer Slaughter, we did an Orlando show, but yeah. We haven't really headlined there, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think we have quite a lot of fans there, so I think it should be good.
Now, you guys have done a few stops in the Bay Area over the last year. You guys did this, Summer Slaughter, I think you guys were here a few months ago. How do you like playing out here? Is the reception good, or is it just...
Yeah, no, it's definitely good country for us to tour. I mean, shows like tonight make it worth it, you know. Like that was a really good show. Like lots of fans that knew the lyrics and were really into it, so it was great. On the other hand, touring over here is pretty rough compared to touring in Europe because in Europe, as a band, you usually get hotels provided by promoters. You usually get catering, and here in the US, you know, you have to take care of yourself pretty much. So we had to figure out how to do that when we first came over here. That's why we started renting an RV, which broke down halfway through the tour, and we kind of learned the hard way how to tour America. But now we have our own van, and we kind of know how to do it. You know, we have people in every city where we can crash, like Brian, for example, who offered his home to us on the first tour. And that's cool. That's different from Europe. In Europe, that wouldn't work like that. You know, like hospitality here is really, really good, and that's making up for the lack of care you get from like promoters and stuff. But it's an experience, and I really like touring the States. Like once or twice a year, you know, it's really good fun. Shows are good, and I think we have a lot of fans up here, so it's great. I'm looking forward to the next couple of shows.
Yeah, over the last year, you guys released a new album called Pelagian. You heard this yet?
Good.
So, I was gonna ask how was the reception of that, and how do you feel about the release? Pelagian is doing it.
It's been better than what I kind of expected. It seems to be the album that somehow has clicked for a lot of people, which I don't really understand because I think all our previous albums were brilliant as well.
Yeah, I liked the last two.
I'm just kidding.
The ones of 2010 too.
No, it's somehow this album has really hit the nail, and you know people really dig it, and it's great to see that we're getting kind of like not just national recognition now, with like on an international level, people are really getting into it. We made it to a lot of like year's end lists with this album, and that's good to see. Yeah, definitely. I'm very happy about that. I didn't really expect that. I don't think it's so much different from our latest, like our previous 2 releases, basically. But somehow there's something about this album that really does something for more people than before. So I'm all game. It's cool.
Recently, a few members have come and gone. Now, how has everybody adjusted to either joining the band or getting used to newer faces? Has that been a smooth transition, or has it been some bumps?
It can never be a 100% smooth transition, because when someone leaves that you have been playing with for many, many years, that is essentially a loss. and you have to get used to that new situation, no matter how awesome the new guy is. And that's the same for us. Like with Luke, our old drummer, leaving, that has definitely like been a loss for this band, I think. Paul, on the other hand, is a brilliant drummer, and I'm very happy to have him in the band to play with him right now. But he has a very different approach to drumming, so for us it's interesting because Luke was this kind of like very minimalist groove type of drummer, while Paul is the more technical kind of guy. And that, like, watching him play our songs now and interpret our songs is like seeing our own music through different eyes. You know, it's like getting a new perspective on songs we've been playing for more than a year. 7 months, pretty much every night in a row, for 7 months or something like that. So it's great for us. Like it's new, it's exciting. On the other hand, we have to get used to it because he does play certain fills differently from how Luke played them, and he generally has a very different approach to drumming. So it's exciting and frightening at the same time, and the exciting moments are kind of dominating. So it's great. Like every single night, we're going out there, and like I have these moments where I look back at him and I'm like, fuck, that was awesome what you just did. Like I'm not telling him, but I'm like, that's what my facial expression kind of conveys, and he gets it. And then there's moments of confusion when I'm like expecting a certain thing and it's not coming. And I'm like, fuck, because I'm so used to it because I've played it for like 7 months in a row basically. So it's very interesting. But generally, I think that the chemistry in the band is very good right now. Everyone's really affiliating themselves with what we're doing with this band, and that's very important. And that was not the case any longer with the old lineup. That's why this change had to happen. Those guys didn't really feel it anymore. Somehow they wanted to do different things musically, and they didn't really affiliate themselves with the sound of this band and the aesthetics of this band and everything that this band is about. And then that's the point when you really have to draw a line and be like, all right, this doesn't make sense. We want to stay friends. We want to stay good friends and keep hanging out. And then sometimes it's important to be like, all right, let's quit this on a professional level and keep being good friends, but like be able to tell each other to fuck off with regards to their musical desires and ambitions. So that's what we did, and I think it was necessary. And it's a new chapter for this band, and for me personally, that's very exciting. I've kind of been used to that because we've always had a lot of like changing members over the years. But it feels great right now. It's really, I feel like I have the right people in the band at this stage, and I'm very happy with where we are.
This is my first time I've seen you guys. I didn't get to see you guys last year, Summer Slaughter, but it's the first time I've seen you guys. It seems like a lot of good chemistry, and I didn't know it was get as crazy as it did. That goes to my next question. After Summer Slaughter last year, I saw some stuff posted on our page about stage diving, how some venues didn't like it, and then they replied, and I don't know if you guys replied now or not. I don't know if you guys replied back or not, but how do you guys feel about the Summer Slaughter tour and all the rules from some places? Because I don't know if you guys performed at the Oakland Metro, but they have a no stage diving sign. I've seen bands repeatedly stage dive, like Vital Remains for stage diving, Arsonists Get Girl for stage diving, and I noticed tonight a lot of stage diving. So how'd you adjust to no stage diving thing, and how'd you feel about Summer Slaughter as a whole?
Personally, I'm coming from a hardcore background, so I'm very used to stage diving and close interaction with the crowd. I think there's more to it than just impressing people by having a very kind of active live show. I think it is an important means to overcome that barrier between the audience and the band and the artist, and that's what hardcore is all about in the end. We're all in this together basically, and there's no division between the artist and the people in the crowd, because the artist wouldn't be there without the people in the crowd. That's the ideals I grew up with, and that's why I value that a lot, and that's why I put a lot of importance to this kind of subject. And I felt very much restrained at Summer Slaughter when we had the rules. We had to face those rules in certain venues that we played, that there was no stage diving allowed. I was actually I was stage diving during Dillinger's set, and they didn't let me back on stage, or even backstage where I had all my stuff. It was illegal or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck? What's this all about? There's definitely a lot of different sides to it. Of course, I do understand that in America you have very rigorous insurance policies, and you can't sue a venue or even a band for getting hurt. you know, when you're being hit by someone jumping on your head or something like that. That is not the case in Europe. It's not that easy. You know, like in most European countries, you go to a show, you know what to expect. And like if you go to court and tell them, oh, I had no idea that someone was going to jump on my head, but at the same time you're liking certain bands on YouTube, then you know you're not going to get through with it in court. In the US you can. That's why it's a lot more severe. That's why I do understand the promoter side, you know, where they're trying to be on the safe side and trying to at least tell people don't do that, so that they can be in a position afterwards where they're like, we told people not to do that. So I do understand that. On the other hand, I'm encouraging breaking the rules because I think it's important. I think it's important for the community, for our live show. It's quite important too. Louis goes into the crowd a lot, our singer, and it's a lot of times that moment where the spark really spills over, you know, where people start going crazy, and where that moment where everyone's just like watching is being overcome. And I think that's important, and that's why we were challenging that at Summer Slaughter, at the risk of being kicked off the tour, and we did it again and again, and kind of like got a big discussion rolling where there was like them being amplified through Metal Sucks and other community pages and stuff. And I think it's important that people talk about that and think about that. And, you know, there's different sides. I appreciate all of them, I respect all of them. I have my own opinion, which is completely pro stage diving. I love it, and you know, when I like a band, I like to go nuts, and I like to not be restrained to a certain mode of behavior, but be able to do whatever the fuck I want to do. But that's my own personal opinion, and if people don't like it, then fair enough, you know, they can be in the back of the room and just watch the show. That always works, and that's fine. But I don't think we need those restrictions that really put people in their place and tell them not to behave in a certain way. That's not what metal and hardcore is all about to me, and that's kind of like, you know, like restricting the passion that's essentially part of this music, and it's driving this whole scene. And that's why I'm an avid, against the rules kind of guy. This
one last question, is the dumbest question out there. Now, where did you get the name The Ocean from? Because that is what kind of drove me to the band. I was looking for new bands. I saw a band called Ocean. I thought, I love The Ocean. I think it's a band that talks cool. And then I got into music more and more. So, dumb question, but where did you guys get the name The Ocean?
Well, when we started out, we were playing pretty atmospheric music and heavy and atmospheric at the same time, and wanted to have a moniker that kind of like would allow us to do whatever we want musically, from like major dominated kind of like peaceful moments to outbursts of, you know, like raging storms and waves and stuff like that. It's very metaphorical in a way. The ocean just seems to be perfect in that regard, because it can stand for the peaceful sunset scenery, you know, with fucking coconut palms swaying in the evening breeze, and it can also stand for the raging, shark-infested storm sea. And that's true pretty much for music as well. We do have those quiet moments, and we have the, you know, very loud and very heavy moments as well. And we have had those from the very beginning of the band until nowadays. So I think that the name is still pretty much appropriate for what we do, and that's the reason why we chose it in the first place.